All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating document from campaign specialist Esteban Concia. He's basically laid out the new rules of the game for communication. So whether you're in government, running a business, or even just building your own personal brand, this is your playbook for how to actually get heard in 2025.
So let's just kick things off with the big question, right? Why aren't your campaigns working? I mean, have you ever poured your heart and soul into a project, launched it, and then crickets? It just disappears into the noise? Well, if that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. And today, we're going to get to the bottom of why that's happening and, more importantly, what you can do about it.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with why your campaigns are probably failing. Then we'll get into the new rules for attention and, this whole new era of confrontation. From there, we'll dive into the actual 90-day playbook. And finally, we'll look at the real goal behind all of this. All right, let's jump in.
All right, first up, why your campaigns fail. And the short answer, the old model's it's broken. To get anywhere today, you first have to realize that the communication landscape hasn't just changed a little bit. Nope, it's been completely torn down and rebuilt from the ground up.
Look, there's really no gentle way to put this. Traditional communication, it's over. It's finished. You know that formal, buttoned-up administrative style where you just list out your facts and figures? It's dead. Seriously. In the world we live in now, just dropping a list of your accomplishments or a data sheet, it does pretty much nothing. It's just noise. You might as well be shouting into the wind.
And this right here, this shows you the huge shift. Think about it. We've moved from the then, a boring succession of facts, management data, to the now. And the now is all about an emotional rhythm. It's not about dry institutional numbers anymore. It's about raw, unedited, real-life stuff, everyday situations that people can actually relate to, where they can see a piece of themselves. And that's not being unprofessional, by the way. It's just being human.
Okay, so if that old way of doing things is dead and gone, what's taken its place, right? What are the new rules for actually getting people to pay attention? What are the absolute must-have ingredients for any piece of content you put out there in 2025?
So according to this playbook, these 5 things right here, they're not just nice to have. They're the new price of admission. Your content has to be emotional. It needs to feel unedited, a little raw. It has to be direct, no beating around the bush. And it's got to be about everyday stuff. If your message doesn't have these 5 ingredients, for all intents and purposes, it's indivisible.
And wow, this quote really nails it. It says that legitimacy isn't about having the truth anymore. It's about having credibility. Think about that. In a world where we are just drowning in information, people don't look for the most factual data sheet. They look for the person or the source they believe, that they find credible. And that is a massive, massive shift in how the world works.
So what happens when the goal shifts from truth to belief? Well, you get a much more aggressive, much more confrontational environment. It's not enough to just put out some content anymore. To even play in this new arena, this era of confrontation, you have to think differently. You have to approach it like an industry.
Yeah, literally, think of it like a content factory. You are no longer the master craftsman spending months on one perfect, polished message. Forget that. Now you're the factory manager, and your job is to churn out high volumes of small, fast pieces of content. We're talking short videos, memes, quick replies, all hammering home the same core ideas over and over again. The name of the game is speed, volume, and repetition.
And the writer Christian Salmon, he explains this perfectly. He says, we're not in the age of the grand story anymore, where you could dominate the conversation for a week with one big announcement. Those days are gone. Now information moves so fast that, like he says, one tweet makes you forget the last. The feed just moves on. It's absolutely ruthless.
So in that kind of chaotic, fast-moving environment, a whole new logic takes over. It's no longer about carefully, patiently building a story. According to this playbook, it's actually more effective to just seek out confrontation. And instead of creating subtle intrigue, the goal is now transgression, breaking the rules, disrupting the normal flow of conversation. That's what gets attention.
And this brings us right to the heart of the new battleground. It's what Salmon says here. This isn't a fight between truth and lies anymore. The real war is a war for belief. The entire point of this strategy is to get an audience to invest their belief in you and to stop believing in your opponents.
In this game, that is the only thing that actually matters.
Okay, so we've established the new reality, right? It's emotional, it's confrontational, and it's all built on belief. So the big question is, what do you actually do? Well, this is where we get to the tutorial, the step-by-step, actionable 90-day playbook. And the playbook kicks off with a number that might just make your jaw drop. 400. That's the goal. 400 short, vertical videos in just 90 days. That is more than 4 videos every single day. And you might be thinking, why? Well, it's because it's not about creating one perfect masterpiece. The goal is relentless repetition and testing. It's about telling your one core story from hundreds of different angles to see what sticks.
So here's how all that work gets organized into a 4-part plan. First, you've got the content blitz. That's your 400 videos plus a daily stream of memes and stickers. But at the same time, you do the deep dive, which is maybe 4 long-form podcast-style interviews that really build depth and character. Step 3 is distribution. This is crucial. You create dedicated WhatsApp channels to push your content directly to your supporters, bypassing the social media algorithms. And finally, number 4 is reinforcement. You use unofficial side B accounts to echo and amplify everything you're saying, which creates this really powerful feedback loop.
Okay, but after all of that, the 400 videos, the constant confrontation, this whole industrial approach to content, what's the real point? It can't just be about making a ton of noise, can it? What is the actual end goal of this entire playbook?
And here it is. This is the ultimate objective. All that work, all that emotion, all that storytelling and confrontation. It's not just about winning an argument online. The real goal is to build a community. Every single piece of content is a tool designed to bring people together around a shared idea, to forge a loyal tribe that will stand behind you, your brand, or your cause.
Which really leaves us with one last, pretty provocative question to chew on. If this playbook is right, if the new battleground really is belief, not truth, and if the main goal is to build a loyal tribe, does that mean all our old ways of measuring success are just worthless now? In this new communications world, maybe building belief isn't just one kind of victory. Maybe it's the only victory that actually counts. Something to really think about as you plan your strategy for 2025 and beyond.